Next one.
Well, hello there. It's been a while.
Yes, it has been such a long time since I pressed this button and then pressed it again.
It's been a while. I'm not going to sing that song.
Oh,
Apparently, he's a piece of garbage.
we,
We talked about that on a recent one, didn't we?
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. I. It seems like if you are famous, there's like a 90% chance you're probably a piece of garbage in some way.
Yeah.
You gotta
It
pick
was
your
one of those.
garbage.
I don't. I may have already told it on the podcast and stuff too, but like that was one of the like Stained did this album called Break the Cycle, and it's fantastic. Like it's depressing and melancholy and all that other stuff. Like, but it was very much time and place. And I sent a screen cap of one of the songs I was listening to a buddy, and he's like, and he responded with, "Oh, that's nice. Here's a song about him." Oh gosh, basically try this in a small town or try that in a small town, like
Uh,
that type of energy. And I was like, "Oh, why'd you do that?"
I
Like, no, let's do it.
I hate it. I hate like I don't I don't know what the answer to this thing is. Welcome to the GameDads podcast, by the way, where we talk about video games and everything but video games, and also we don't like horror dark world, the dark world.
No, fuck oh, the dark world. Dickie Simpsons for life.
So it's just a thing. Like I don't know if it is something that we're just gonna have to like collectively as like the not insane people just like decide that there's a certain quotient of shittiness, or if it's like this person is okay until you find the shitty thing and then you can listen to the stuff that they made before you found the shitty thing. I don't know what it is, because like there are so many people out there that like I use my constant example because he constantly disappoints me constantly, but I used to be such a huge fan of Kanye. Like
Oh
freaking
yeah, dude.
late registry, graduation. I I listened to those CDs on a loop for years. And like now I'm like, can you just shut up? Can you just stop talking so that I don't have to be
Yeah,
embarrassed about everything that you say? Like I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if it's to just, like appreciate the art, not the artist. I feel like that's a cop out because that's just you saying like I don't want to have to deal with the controversial stuff that this person says or does, so I'm just gonna
yeah,
completely separate them from their music so that I don't have to worry about it. I feel like that's a cop out, but like just I don't like the idea of like your musical library, your movie library or whatever, just like constantly shrinking as like people come out and say horrible things and then you have to like ditch their whole discography. I don't know what the answer is. I literally don't.
yeah. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Like, am I a piece of crap for still liking Harry Potter? Like, it kind of gets into those things, just
Yeah, like I said it on the last podcast, and I mean at this point, if you don't get it, I consider myself to be a feminist. So like there are certain
I
things
think
that like
if I think if you're not, it's kind of weird. You know what I mean?
yeah, but like there are tons of people who just hear that word and are like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, I've noticed I keep doing this. By the way, this is like the third time in like three podcasts where I've been like, because like when I was talking about the difference between Dante and Bayonetta in another episode, I was talking about how like,
Yeah,
oh, when people hear the word hyper masculine, they think all of these things, and that's not what I mean when I say it, because I kind of appreciate and because I like things that are hyper masculine as long as they're not in super toxic or horrible ways. Or you can be hyper
yeah.
masculine and not be a hyper douchebag. Like
Well, and I also think that there can be like feminists that are hyper toxic as well. You know what I mean? There's it's it goes both ways. Does it make
yeah.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the people who I'm referring to are like the feminists who would get really upset when say something is good when you say it's hyper masculine, because they'd be like, "Oh, blah, blah." And I'm like, "No,
Yeah,
because things can be masculine and be good. They can be feminine and be good. They can be masculine and be bad, and they can be feminine and be bad. There are levels, but I'm going too far, and I don't want to get too off track here. All I'm saying is I don't know. I don't know how you deal with this. I don't know how you deal with these constant, I guess it's just a fact of the internet and like people's availability and cameras and how easily stories can spread when they couldn't before, where like all of these terrible things come out about people. And like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the fact that, like Kanye West wrote a Bittersweet, and it's one of my favorite songs of all time. I think it's one of the best rap songs of all time, but he's also one of the worst people who currently exists. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how you deal with all that. And I just like, at this point, I'm like, I don't know if you drop all of their music when you find out the bad thing about them, or you take the music that they made before the bad thing came out. But it was like, oh, well, guess what? Just because this is the time they got caught saying the bad thing doesn't mean they don't believe the bad thing and haven't believed it since they're, before they made that music. So like, you're still supporting their horribleness. And if you're buying their albums or streaming their music, then you're still paying them, even if you're not, directly buying an album today that they wrote today. They still get money for it. So like, how do you deal with that? I don't know. I don't know what the discussion is going to be. I don't know if it's something that we're just going to all just have our own individual opinions about and not judge other people for how they handle it, or if we're going to come to some consensus. I don't know.
Well, and I think too, it kind of boils down to like how willing are you to dig deep into some things, like, or like, you pay attention to this one thing but not another. Like, there's hypocrisy involved with it. Just like, for example, like I won't watch the Saudi Arabia shows for WWE. You know what I mean? Because of how, but that doesn't change the fact that literally every other WWE show that I watch, like the Saudis are still paying them money. So even though I'm not like watching that one show, it's still, or like the fact that Vince McMahon, like this awful person, has been involved with this company for, I mean, pretty much since the jump. You know what I mean? So like, what does that say about me that I'm feeding this machine of just fucking terrible people?
I hate it because I'm like, I remember when not even the actual time where he went to jail, but like when the R. Kelly stuff came out the first time in like, I don't know. I think the first time it really started popping was like 2005, 2004 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Or really talking about it. I was like, I am done with R. Kelly. The remix to Ignition off my phone. I'm never listening to it again. I don't care. Screw him. And then somebody was like, R. Kelly mixed and produced a lot of Aaliyah's music. So you're basically saying you're not going to listen to her either.
Right.
And then there are like tons of other artists who are in that same thing where like R. Kelly produced or remixed or mastered a lot of other artists' music because he was just very, very popular in the music industry during that era. So basically you're telling yourself you're not going to listen to any of these artists ever again because they're related in any way, shape, or form to R. Kelly. And it's like,
it's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, dude. Well, even, yeah. I think I was talking about Twista on a recent show, I think, but it's the same thing, dude. If you look at that I can't remember the name of the CD, but it was the one that had Overnight Celebrity on it.
Right.
If you look at literally every one of those songs, like it's like Kanye West, it's R. Kelly. Let me see if I can find it. Twist. But yeah, it's kind of nuts, dude. Like,
I want to move away from this one because I literally, I'm bringing up a thing and I do not have an answer, and it's just in general a thing that bothers me.
Yeah. Ugh. He's still making new music.
Yes, that's a thing. I don't know what.
Twista.
I don't know if it's a publishing thing. I don't know if it's a radio thing. I don't know if but like, there's so many artists that you never hear about their new music, even though they've been making new music continuously since the last time you listened to them.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say about R. Kelly, we were at Oscar's Pizza here in town, and we were it was a Friday night. like it wasn't very busy in there, but there were definitely like families and stuff in there. And me, Allie, and Drake were, enjoying a nice pizza pie. They had R. Kelly on loop, dude. Like, I don't know what the station was. It was not edited or anything like that, but it was like there were families in there, and it was like the nastiest stuff that R. Kelly had. I had to go up to the little dude up at the register, and like none of the people in the back like looked like they ever listened to R. Kelly like at any point in their lives. Actually, a lot of them didn't even look like they were alive when R. Kelly was like super popular. But I was like, hey, they want to change the station. I don't know if you can hear this, but
You have hit the R. Kelly freak hour, and you might want to change this.
yeah, like they changed it to Jay-Z. So I was like, this isn't edited either, but at the very least, like Jay-Z's, I don't know, Jay-Z's probably a bad person too.
Who cares? I want to move around away from this topic before I get depressed.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too.
Okie doke.
So I'm gonna pull a Cody Rhodes. What do you want to talk about?
All right. Do we want to keep our normal structure, or we want to kind of make this one a little looser since we spent a good amount of time in the last one talking about what games we're playing?
Yeah, I do have a topic, and that I've been kind of wanting to get to for a little while,
Oh,
and
well,
it's kind of evergreen too, so it doesn't really have to do with anything that's like going on in the gaming sphere right now, but it's handheld gaming, dude,
yeah, let's talk about it.
and how it's really just made a massive comeback. Like or was it earlier this year? You played Persona 5 Royal on your Switch, right?
Yes.
I have been playing. I left it off my what I was playing on the last one, but Metaphor Refantasio. I've been playing that on my Steam Deck, and my I bought a Steam Deck again in June. The first one I actually sold for. It was when we first moved into the house. We needed a little bit, like we had a lot of stuff going on with it and stuff, so I sold it. I bought the OLED Steam Deck, and I tell you what, dude, this is the best handheld I've ever had in my life. Being able to play the games that I play on my television on the go now, like that's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that was always the promise of stuff like the PSP and the Vita, even like the Game Boy Advance, and dating back to the Game Boy where you're able to take 8-bit games on the go with you. But like this stuff like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally and the Switch, like it's that dream realized. And I thought it'd be kind of cool just with where we're at as game daddies. You've got 2 kids, I've got a teenager and one on the way, just how important and vital that handheld aspect is to us. So what do you get your feelings on it?
No, okay. So let's start with my experience playing Persona 5, because I played the crap out of Persona 5. I think when I stopped, I was at like 350 hours, something
Yeah.
crazy, 2 full playthroughs. But I made a conscious decision on Persona 5 to wait and play it on the Switch when the Switch version dropped. Like I own it for PS5. I bought it for PS5 on a chat from you because I bought the original version. And I was like, I'm just gonna play through it on my PlayStation, and I had fun playing it. I don't know. I think I made it through the first dungeon, or I might have made it to the first boss. But you came up and were like, "Oh, you have regular Persona 5? You should play Persona 5 Royal. It's the same game, but just bigger and better. Like there's no reason to not play Persona 5, to not own Persona 5 Royal if you're gonna play it." And I was like, okay. And then like, I don't know if it was just it takes me a lot of time unless I'm like 100% on a game. It takes me a lot of time to buy a game. That's just not the way I am. And I think somewhere in that, between that conversation and me actually buying it, I saw that it was coming out for Switch. And I was like looking at how the game plays, and I was like, no, I need to play this on Switch. This is going to be perfect for a handheld game, for a handheld console. So I waited until the Switch version came out, and then I bought it on Switch, and it coincided perfectly with Lee being born. So like Lee was born. I bought the Switch version right before then, started playing it, and then those like late night slash early mornings with the newborn, and I just had my Switch and I would just like get cozy and like start playing and like it carried me through so many of his early mornings and late nights where I could just sit around and play Switch all day and wait for him and handle bottles and feeding because it's such a it's such a type of game where that you don't have to be you know, you don't have to like, there's not a lot of real time stuff going on where like, if I put the controller down, I'm going to miss something. You can literally just like put it down for 20 minutes, go do something and come back. So like,
Yeah.
it's just the game's the perfect format, and it was the perfect format for the time that I needed it. So it was just a match made in heaven. And then I just love Persona 5. Like I got so invested in all the characters in the story, and it's perfect. So having that experience of how great it was to play Persona 5 on my Switch, I am every game that I can find that has that, I'm a big JRPG person. So anytime I can find a JRPG that I can play on my Switch, I've just been eating it up. I've like 5 or 6 other JRPGs on my list that are just downloaded on my Switch waiting for me to play them.
Yeah. I think that JRPGs have always been, and RPGs just in general, have always been at home on handhelds. Like you go back to like Pokemon or like Golden Sun or some of the Final Fantasy games. Heck, dude, Mana. Like that started on Game Boy. The Final Fantasy was it Adventure?
Yep.
Or Final Fantasy, yep.
Final Fantasy Adventure.
So like RPGs always have this, they're at home on these consoles. And for people that have like a limited amount of time to play video games, like I bought Persona 5 on my PlayStation as well. I bought the original one, I bought Royal, and I actually finished 5 on my PS5. But the place where I liked to play Persona the most was the Vita. And that was when Drake was really small. So when he was first born, the 3DS was maybe a year old, and the Vita had just come out a couple months before he was born. So the first probably 2 years that he was alive, I was playing mostly handheld games. So between my 3DS and my Vita, and be able to take those RPG experiences, like your Persona 4 Golden, Pokemon. I think I played X and Y on there. Fire Emblem was great on there. And have these sort of like lengthy experiences that you don't have, where it's like a Devil May Cry or like a Mega Man or something like that, where you actually have to be present and active and staring at the screen in order to get through it and all that. But like, you can put it down, you can put it in sleep mode, you can walk away, you can come back. Like it's just perfect. And the fact that like this stuff is coming through, it's almost like another renaissance of handheld, because like there's rumors of Xbox doing it, there's rumors of PlayStation trying to get back into it, where I don't think that either one of them should make their own anymore. Steam Deck's perfect. Just put your stuff on Steam. You know what I mean? Like it belongs there. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I genuinely think that the Steam Deck is probably going to be my next console purchase. I've been thinking, I mean, unless like the Switch 2 comes out next week, then I'll probably get a Switch 2 first. But like,
yeah,
the angle that I've been at right now, and like this is the thing that I've been running into specifically with Satisfactory, which I don't know if Satisfactory would be good because it's kind of a pointy clicky game and you wouldn't have a lot of fun with that on a handheld console. Just I don't like using the analog stick as a pointer. It's annoying. I've gotten so used to using a mouse and keyboard that I don't know if I could go back. But what I am saying though is like I agree with you on that one. If you're gonna start moving your games to Steam, and Steam has this portable console that can do the job better than currently, I think any of the consoles, I don't think they would make anything better than the Steam Deck. I'm like, like why bother? Like, what is the point of you guys putting all of these things and making them available for Steam if you're not going to utilize the Steam capabilities? Like, Steam is excellent at providing platforms for people to play their games on, and they have done another excellent job. Don't string us along with another handheld that you aren't gonna respect, or you're gonna is gonna be like, oh, we made this handheld console and we made 15 games for it and now we're bored, so we're just gonna go back to making normal things on our consoles. Like, I don't
Yeah.
waste your time, please. Don't waste our time. Don't waste our money. Just put what you want to be portable on Steam and let the Steam Deck do its thing.
Dude, that was so hard with the Vita. Like I supported that. I had so many games for the Vita. For them just to stop supporting that was very tough. 3DS got a lot of good support, but I don't know. I think that the idea behind like PlayStation or Xbox doing another handheld would be like the rumor being, especially on the PlayStation side, was like you can take your PS4 library with you. So having a PS4 on the go is sort of like the idea behind it. So if you've got a built-in library, like it kind of makes sense.
What
They've
is
got the
that?
Portal out now.
I
Oh,
would say,
sorry.
is it the Portal? I was like, what is that new, like, kind of half console thing that PlayStation has?
It's strictly streaming. So it'll remote play to your console as long as you've got a internet connection. Like really, from what I've heard, you want to hardwire it. Like you want to make sure your PlayStation 5 is hardwired, and then when you log into your portal, it'll actually turn your PlayStation on, and then you can play your games that way. But it's basically it's a dual sense controller that's been split in half, and they put a little LCD screen into it.
I mean, I kind of mess with this, but it's basically just using the PlayStation app. You can kind of do the same thing on like a laptop. I
Yeah, you can do that with the Steam Deck too.
Yeah, I do it
Um,
occasionally. I'll just like I'll be sitting in my room and wanting to play something on PlayStation, and I can just pull up the app and plug in my controller, and it literally just remotes into my PlayStation, turns it on, and then broadcasts. And like sometimes I deal with lagginess, and that idea of direct wiring it might be a good fix because I do use it every once in a while. But just like let me breathe, PlayStation. Just let me
yeah.
breathe. Like, why would I
You,
pay? Why would I give you the money for this when I can essentially do the same thing with a laptop? You're again making me giving me more stuff that I don't need. Like, I can do this with my laptop. I could just pull up my laptop and plug all this in. Like, why would I pay you 200
yeah.
bucks for it?
Well, and one of the cool things too is PlayStation has been, and they're actually the better ones about doing this. Xbox has some things on Steam, but their big thing is Game Pass. They want you to do PC Game Pass. You can play stuff like Spider-Man and The Last of Us and God of War and Uncharted all on Steam. And those games are typically verified. Like, so Steam's got this, or Steam Deck has this little program where if it's deck verified, like they go through and they personally test every single game on Steam, which dude, there's like tens of thousands. It'll get a little green check mark by it. Or if it's playable, but like there's some caveats to it, it'll have like a little like an eye or something like that. Like it's not an eye. It's a little yellow dot or whatever.
Mhm.
But 9 times out of 10, PlayStation stuff is readily available. It's good to go. And it comes out like way after the fact. So like God of War Ragnarok is, I think it just hit Steam, but it's fully playable. In a lot of cases too, especially on Steam Deck with the OLED one. I mean, you can go 90 hertz with it, so you can go up to 90 frames per second, which in some cases, dude, runs way better than a PS4, which is it blows my mind. Apparently, the Rogue Ally does something similar. I've got friends that are really into the Rogue Ally, and the biggest thing with that is apparently it's you can do native Game Pass with it. So if you're an Xbox user, it's all there for you. But I don't know. I thought handhelds were kind of a cool topic to get into, mostly just because of how popular they are right now. Like it seems the Steam Deck is doing really well. and then just how like much we utilize those in our own lives. I thought that'd be kind of neat.
I got a question for you, just to pop off
Yeah.
the end of this conversation. I kind of think I have an idea, but I'm not 100%. But what's your favorite? What's your favorite handheld console?
You know me, dude. I love my lists, and I actually kind of came prepared with this one.
Oh,
If the Steam Deck didn't exist, which I think the Steam Deck is my favorite. Like going through my library right now, just things that I've been playing. Like I've got Sonic Origins that I'm, dude. Everybody on the Game Dad podcast knows that. Like I play video games while we talk. I've been playing Sonic Origins this whole time. But dude, I've got stuff like I got Days Gone on mine. I've got Dead Space, Fable, Final Fantasy 13, Fallout 4, Halo: The Master Chief Collection, Half-Life 2, Mad Max, Limbo, The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, Persona 4 Golden. I had to throw that one in there. Portal 2, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Sonic Adventure 2,
hell yeah!
the new Ninja Turtles, Splinter Fate, Tales of Kenzera Zao, Knights of the Old Republic. Dude, there is not a handheld on earth that matches this. The just what I mentioned there, you know. Beyond that, I don't know, dude. Maybe the GBA.
I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was either gonna
Maybe
be
the
the PSP or the Vita.
I think like I think PSP would probably end up being it if we're like because if you go back and look like the libraries on the GBA, it's kind of limited, and a lot of it's like retreads of the SNES. So like Final Fantasy VI is really great on there. I bought mine for Sword of Mana. I don't know if you remember that because I think you bought my GBA when I was done with it.
Yep,
Um,
played the crap out of Sword of Mana.
that's really expensive now. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like $300.
And I still got it.
Ridiculous. Do you?
Yeah.
My man, that's awesome. I'm glad you got use out of that. PSP, I think might take it though for like the two God of War games, Resistance. It gave us portable Symphony of the Night for the first time. That the Dracula X Chronicles. Mega Man X got a really cool remake on there. Which did you ever play Maverick Hunter?
No, I never did.
Dude, it's so good. It's got like anime cutscenes to it and like voice acting. Yeah, I mean PSP is great, but I think all time right now it's got to be Steam Deck. Traditionally, probably PSP
Yeah.
or
Uh,
GBA. Depends on the
my
day.
I would say mine is for sure GBA. I played so much of my Game Boy Advance. Like I just it was one of those consoles that just like I remember like family trips and just anytime where I had downtime, I could just bust out my Game Boy Advance and just like zone out for a while playing video games. I have so many like nostalgic memories of Pokemoning all over it. Like it definitely
It,
gets my number one spot, but like the close second would also be the PSP because the second I got my PSP, I immediately decided it was time to jailbreak it, and once I figured out how to do that, like I just every game that should have been on the GBA, I just made it on the GBA and just like I had so much fun or PSP. I had so much fun playing my PSP and especially having the freedom to like play every game I wanted to play on it, like getting the emulators to work and busting out Super Nintendo games and just I had such a blast with that and like it was to the point where like in my childhood I always had my Game Boy Advance in my pocket and then in my adult life I always had my PSP in my pocket for like I don't know, I would say 16 to 22 I always had my PSP with me. So
well, so do you still have the GBA that I sold you? Is that the one that you're talking about?
I have to go look through my stuff. I know I still have Sword of Mana, but I don't know if it's that GBA or if I have a different one. Or if I don't know if I still have the GBA. I might have gotten rid of it, but I still have my DS has the GBA slot in it to play GBA games.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. I didn't know that you had got into the GBA as much as you did.
Yeah.
Um,
It was one of those things where I just having that console, like, just to be able to bust it out whenever I wanted to. I've always had something portable, if it was like the original DS or if it was the, but like GBA was just my, it was my jam for a while.
yeah. Oh, we all got into the Game Boy. Like, dude, everyone our age had a Game Boy, and everyone our age, like it collected dust or whatever because we all got it like super early and stuff. Like you had the gray one too. I had the gray one, and then Pokemon came out, and then suddenly the Game Boy was relevant again.
It was the most
Um,
important thing, and you had to get the the attachments with the big magnifying screen and the light and
oh my gosh, yeah, dude,
uh
so it's so crazy, but
people were
yeah, that,
dealing AA batteries like they were crack.
oh my gosh. That the chargeable Game Boy Advance, like the SP, that was a revelation just because you could plug it in and charge it that way. Did I ever tell you why I bought that?
No.
So I got grounded as I always did, like, and I think my PS2, my mom took that away from me. I think I had it for maybe 6 months, and my grades were terrible, so my mom took away my PS2. But I was working, so I went out and bought a Game Boy Advance just so I could play video games. And I bought that and like it bought Sword of Mana. And that may have been the only game I bought for it. I can't really remember. Maybe I bought Castlevania for it too. But I definitely had Sword of Mana, and that's what I did. So instead of being able to play like my consoles, I played GBA. And then
It,
once I was ungrounded and then like I was you know never gonna get, or not never I guess, but like it got to the point where I was too old to be grounded.
mhm.
I sold the GBA to you, and yeah, I never looked back. I think the next handheld I got was maybe the DS. I like the DS quite a bit.
The DS is like, it's like like a missed opportunity for me. It's like a long lost love. Like I played a little bit of DS, but I never got into it as deep as I wanted to. And now I go on the internet and I'm like, I want to get a new DS and some DS games. And like Amazon's got like the DSs for like 250 $300, and like
Oh, yeah.
the DS games are all like $60 again. I'm like, I don't want to spend this much. But
For
like,
some reason, the 3DS especially like got really expensive through the pandemic. It was really cheap for a while, and then it just blew up. It was, I think it may have been when they took the storefront down or something like that. But
yeah,
yeah, they're
because
expensive.
it has been a goal of mine for as long as me and Andrea have been together, for us to get two separate copies of Pokemon, get two separate DSs, and Pokemon with and against each other through the game. But like every time I went to go buy a second DS, it was always like way too expensive, and like Pokemon games never drop below 60 unless, you know, I don't know, hell starting to freeze over or something. So like I was like, I'm not about to spend $400 to do this little bit with my wife where we play Pokemon together. I just don't want to do it. And then the circumstances changed when the OLED Switch came out, because I was totally down with buying a new Switch. I was playing Persona 5, Andrea was playing Breath of the Wild. We both needed the Switch and we were fighting over it. So I was like, we're just going to buy
Yeah,
another Switch. And then when we
it's
bought another
it's
Switch,
cheaper to buy another one. You know,
yeah. And then once we bought another Switch, it was like, okay, well, now I just have to spend the $60 on another copy of Pokemon and we can finally do this thing. And then we did it for a week and both of us got distracted with other games because we were playing it, and then Tears of the Kingdom came out, and then Andrea was totally sucked into that. We haven't gone back to Pokemon yet, but we will eventually.
yeah. I think. Oh gosh, I got really into Pokemon X and Y with a friend of mine, and I was, gosh, I was probably 27, 28 whenever that game came out, and it was Drake was Drake was within the first couple of years of life. I know that, and it felt like old Pokemon, like when we were teenagers when that game came out, and we were trading back and forth, and X and Y had that like the mystery trade where you would like send a random like Rattata out.
Mm-hmm.
And like you would get something random back in return. So like we would do that quite a bit, and we would battle, and like it actually kind of felt like the old days, which was kind of neat. But that's the last time I really got into Drake, and I did that a little bit with the Switch Pokemon games, but it was never. It was more just me showing him the game and him just being super uninterested in it. He never got into Pokemon like I thought he would. Like I think he tried and he did a little bit for me, but yeah, those were good days, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Different strokes, you know. Well, maybe it'll come back
Yeah,
around to him.
maybe. I don't know. I thought Scarlet and Violet would do it, but he he did not like Scarlet and Violet. So, but in his defense, though, those games run like booty. So
Which is
I don't know what the
amazing.
Pokemon company's doing.
Yeah, which is I would say, which is amazing to me because, like, guys, guys, you guys do one thing, guys.
You you do one thing. You do one thing.
Guys.
I don't I don't want to sit here and like discount what they do, because I think that, putting out a new Pokemon game, because that game's annualized at this point. Like I think this is the first year that they've not done a brand new Pokemon game in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But they continually get worse. Like as the technology gets better, like they just can't keep up with it. So I don't know. Pokemon Company, sort
Stand
it out.
down. Stand down.
Stand down.
I don't know. The guys, Pokemon guys, like maybe turn your money printing machine off for a little bit and work in your R&D and then come back to us.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's the thing. Like, they don't have to. Like, those games will sell no matter what. It doesn't matter what it is. They will. And there's been a couple really good Pokemon games the last few years. I thought Sword and Shield was pretty decent, a nice step in the right direction. But they know that they can really get away with just about anything, and people they'll buy it. Like Call of Duty,
All right. So I got two things that I want to talk about.
Yes, sir.
The first one is there is this is another anime rant, by the way. I'm going to start with that. This is another anime rant that has been boiling inside of me for a while, and I just finally want to get it out.
Good.
There's a thing in the anime community where people really harp on characters that have plot armor. I'm fairly sure you're pretty comfortable with the idea of plot armor. It exists everywhere in stories.
I saw that on the docket, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm familiar with the concept, but
Okay, I'm happy to explain. So plot armor, the way that these people are referring to it, is your character, goes into a situation and they don't win because of their ingenuity or smarts or abilities. They win because the plot demands them to, or something happens and they survive because the plot demands them to. Like there are a lot of situations. Goku is one of the highest people who gets put on this list, but like people basically rate animes whether or not the main character has plot armor. Like if the main character has plot armor, bad. If the main character doesn't have plot armor, good. But like plot armor is important, and I think people just it's the same thing that always happens with these anime conversations. It's my favorite character is this character and your favorite character is this character, but I don't like that character, so he has plot armor where my main character who I like doesn't have plot armor. So I just want to talk about the big three, which is Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach, and then Dragon Ball Z, because I always got to talk about Dragon Ball Z. You can't stop me. So I'm going to rate them. I'm gonna rate them from most plot armor, from least plot armor to most plot armor, and I'm gonna kind of explain each one in the vaguest of terms that I can do without being super spoily, but I've got to spoil some stuff. I don't think you care that much, and if anyone out there doesn't want to be spoiled on the big three, in you can skip this if you want to, or I'm gonna try and be as vague as possible. Okay, so the person who I think has the least plot armor among these four is Ichigo, who's the main character from Bleach. Ichigo does have some plot armor, but his plot armor is pretty he never really pulls anything out of his butt. Everything that he has is something that you know about. It just, it might go bigger than it has before, but you know about it. It's not, there's no secret that he's just oh, I just busted this secret out on you. The best example of people talking about Ichigo's plot armor is Ichigo has he has basically a dark version of himself that is inside of his soul. There's a huge explanation for why that exists that comes later in the story, but this dark version of himself comes out and it turns him into a monster, basically. It happens multiple times in the story, but each time it happens, the transformation is bigger. So the one that people call his plot armor moment is he's fighting against a demon who's way more powerful than him and absolutely dog walks him the entire fight. Absolutely, the man's down to he wears a robe and shorts, or a robe, pants, and sandals. By the time the fight starts to turn around, he is literally wearing shorts because all of the cloth over his chest and all the cloth of his pants has been destroyed in fireballs and explosions. He has no shoes. He's standing there with no shirt in crop top shorts because all the rest of his stuff has been blown off. Then the demon comes out, takes over his body. He basically becomes a demon, fights the guy, kills him. People talk about this being this huge plot armor moment for him where he shouldn't have been able to do this. It's the demon has been getting more powerful in him the entire time. He's been growing exponentially, so this demon has been getting stronger too. So that when the demon takes over and it's using both of their powers at the same time, it instantly makes him twice as strong as he was. And that's enough to beat this other demon he's fighting. Not crazy plot armor. Just kind of the progression of how his power grows throughout the series. And people say oh god, Ichigo has all this plot armor every time the story necessitates it, he just magically gets stronger. It's if you're watching the story, obviously him and the demon inside of him are getting stronger simultaneously. So when their powers combine, that makes him much stronger, way faster. It's not a big deal. This is anime 101. Chill out. So the next person is Naruto from Naruto. Actually, I would say the next person is Goku. Naruto's got some crazy plot armor. Next person is Goku. I do believe Goku has some serious plot armor, but Dragon Ball Z stories are self-contained sagas in a way a lot of other stories aren't. So Goku dies and then he gets brought back to life. That seems like this huge plot armor moment for everyone, but that is a bunch of people who've never watched Dragon Ball. Goku, the Dragon Balls, and the ability to bring people back to life is introduced in episode 75 of Dragon Ball, and Goku does not use it on himself for another 150 episodes until Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
If you actually watch Dragon Ball and you know that exists, it's not a crazy plot armor thing that he can be brought back to life. You know that he can.
Oh.
When he dies against Raditz, you know that he can get brought back to life before Piccolo says anything. It's not a plot armor situation if you know, but
yeah, it's continuity.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't watch Dragon Ball, don't know that this is a possibility, didn't know that Dragon Balls were a thing until Piccolo said them and said about it in Dragon Ball Z. So to them, it's plot armor, but it's not. And then the second situation is against Cell when he dies and then comes back in the Buu arc. It's it's not plot armor to me as bad because Goku chooses to stay dead. He does not die in the idea of like, oh, I'm just gonna come back with the Dragon Balls. He literally chooses to stay dead. So like he comes back in a situation where like when he gets brought back to life by Baba in the Buu saga, it's just like he's just coming back for that day. He's still dead. And like it doesn't none of this changes until like the Kai decides to give his life for Goku's to bring him back to life. But like plot armor would be like if Goku was like, "Oh, I'll save you, son," and then jumps on Buu, teleports him away, and then like when they get the Dragon Balls, they just bring him back, and he's just like, "Oh, okay, whatever." But like deciding to stay dead makes it a little bit more permanent for me, at least. But I can see where people would be like, "This is he's gonna come back later because he's Goku," but I think that's also part of the whole Dragon Ball Z mythos thing, but another subject for another time. So I put Goku at number 2 because I think while he does have some plot armor, I mean, his plot armor is, hey, the Dragon Balls exist. They can bring people back to life. This has existed for the entirety of Dragon Ball and the entirety of Dragon Ball Z. It's not plot armor if it's something that was set up hundreds of episodes beforehand. But then we got to go to the second worst plot armor person in anime, freaking Naruto. The guy has the most plot armor besides Luffy, who's number 1. But like, okay, so Naruto has a 9-tailed fox sealed in, and we've had this conversation. It's like Godzilla sealed inside of his body. But it's Godzilla sealed inside of his body that makes him nearly unkillable. Like the demon power inside of him, literally people like have stabbed holes through his chest and they heal before the person puts him down. Like Naruto has so much plot armor. He literally, like, his main ability to make clones of himself also allows him to train at like 100 or 1,000 times faster than any person else in the story, and Naruto is the only person who can do it. Like, Naruto's parents are geniuses. His mother is from a race that's descended from ancient aliens. Like, Naruto has the most plot armor of almost any character ever. He's pretty high up on this list. He is the reincarnation of a god. So like all of the other stuff I've said, and he's the reincarnation of a god. And like it's like his godfather is like the third best ninja in the world. He has a perfect link with these ancient race of toads he can summon and use as magical summons, like personal Godzillas he can summon whenever he wants. Like he has all 5 chakra natures plus the 2 hidden chakra natures that don't even exist to most people. Like he literally has everything. He has the most plot armor you could possibly have, and then we have to talk about Luffy, who has more plot armor than him. So Luffy has the most plot armor of any character I've ever heard of. Luffy has more plot armor than Jesus. Luffy's plot armor is so insane. Okay, I'm gonna try and like break these plot armor moments down, but there are so many of them that I'm gonna miss some. So Luffy's first moment of One Piece world, I'm going to start with saying this. One Piece world is like 98% water. They're pirates. They sail on the sea. It's pretty, it's water. There's tons of it.
Right.
Luffy's first move as a pirate, the first day he decides he's going to go on his pirate journey, he jumps in a barrel and then just throws himself into the ocean. Let me start by saying everybody in One Piece, the main thing of One Piece, it's kind of like power system as they were. It's force. It's, ki, whatever, is characters have devil fruits. And you eat this fruit and it gives you some crazy ability. That's why Luffy is stretchy, because he has the rubber devil fruit, which allows his body to become rubber. In exchange for becoming rubber, he becomes deathly poisoned by the sea. If seawater touches him, It completely immobilizes him. He loses all of his powers, and like he also devil fruit users cannot float. They sink like stones as soon as seawater touches them. They sink. They cannot float.
What if they're on a boat?
They can float. I mean, like if they're on top, if they're touching something that's like not in the water, like if they're standing on a boat, they're fine. But if they're in the water, if their arms, legs touch the water, their body goes limp and they sink. Luffy is in a barrel, floating in the ocean. If 1 ounce of seawater touches him, he will die.
Does the barrel go down too?
It would sink. The barrel would sink to the floor, to the ocean floor, if 1 ounce of seawater touches him.
That's why I asked about the boat.
Yeah, like as long as he's not the seawater is not touching him directly, he's fine. But if the seawater is touching him, he sinks. And if if he's in a barrel and that seawater touches him, he would sink and the barrel would sink with him.
Okay.
So this is how he starts his journey. He's just in a barrel. If that barrel leaks, if that barrel breaks, he would just die. That would be the end of it. He floats for like multiple days in this barrel. Then another pirate finds him and like pulls him out of the ocean. And then that's how his story starts. So next we move to a couple of things happen, which there's so much stuff that happens in the beginning of One Piece that would be like absolutely insane, but we're just going to skip that. He goes to a place called Logtown, gets caught by the Marines, gets strung up on a guillotine where the guillotine is about to kill him. Like they have the blade. They are saying there his head is in the guillotine. He says, "Sorry, friends, I messed up." The guy is ready to let go of the rope to cut his head off. Then the guy holding the rope and everyone on the platform gets struck by lightning, causing the guillotine to break. Luffy gets free, runs away. Next, Luffy is climbing. One of his crewmates is sick. So Luffy's climbing a mountain to get to a doctor. He's climbing with his bare hands up hundreds of feet in freezing cold temperatures. Basically, his body is completely frostbitten. He makes it to the top of this mountain. The doctor basically says, "I can save your friend. I can't save you." And then he just wills himself not to die. And then he just doesn't. Skipping ahead a little bit, he goes to he's in this big giant war where his brother's about to get executed. The strongest person in the One Piece universe shows up and basically says, "My only goal today is to kill you." He kills arguably the strongest pirate who ever lived. This guy has lava powers and literally melts half of that guy's face off. Kills another guy who I'm going to say another guy because that is a really big spoiler and I love One Piece and I won't say that much. But kills another guy. And that guy who he kills jumps in front of Luffy to save him. And for some reason, this tower of a man who's literally killing everyone in his path doesn't kill Luffy and just lets him run away. So, just because I could go all day with this, I'm going to give this last example of how bad Luffy's plot armor is. This is the worst example of plot armor I have ever heard. And if anyone brings up plot armor, I will always use this one because this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm glad I gave you the thing about the devil fruit beforehand. So let me go ahead and tell you how Luffy survives fighting Kaido. Kaido is this big badass. He's a part dragon. He's got this huge like spiked bat that he uses as a weapon. And he one shots everybody that he fights. He's just mowing through people. So he fights Luffy. He beats Luffy. He kicks Luffy's butt. He knocks Luffy off of a mountain that is floating in the air into the ocean. So Luffy is definitely poisoned by seawater. He knocks him into the ocean in a random location. Like we're not talking like some like pool that is, like guarded. There, that mountain is floating through the air, so like traveling across the entire ocean. So he lands in a random spot, sinks to the bottom of the ocean floor. As he is sinking to the bottom of the ocean floor to die because he is unconscious, a submarine passes him, sees him, grabs him, pulls him onto the submarine. The submarine comes up, goes to land, gets Luffy out of the submarine. They bring him back to life with CPR. And then one of the people on this submarine has a power that allows him to store things in his jacket. And the thing that
is that power called a pocket?
Okay. Before you laugh,
Is it called a pocket?
before you laugh, there is a character who has the pocket fruit and can do what you're just describing. But this is a character who has a different fruit that still is able to allow him to do the same thing. He is not
Is it called a pouch?
He is not the pocket fruit user. But anyways, inside of his body where he is storing things, he has an entire feast that he kept in there for no reason. Then he gives the entire feast to Luffy to get his strength back so that he can go back up to fight Kaido again. But what happens when he gets there? There's also another devil fruit user who can turn into a dragon that can fly, that flies him back up to the mountain because Luffy can't fly. All of this happens completely by coincidence. Every single person in this situation happens to be there completely coincidentally. None of them are looking for each other. None of them are like have any plan for this to happen. None of them know this is going to happen. It's all by coincidence. All of this stuff I just described is completely coincidental.
That's excellent.
That is the insane amount of plot armor that Luffy has. It's crazy. I didn't even talk about the time where the guy who has the poison fruit poisons him so badly that like the poison that he used against Luffy literally kills people in one hit, and Luffy gets bathed in a tsunami of it and still lives. Like, it's crazy. But to bring this back around to the point I was trying to make at the beginning, all of these characters have plot armor, some of them insane levels of it. But all of the stories are still good. Sometimes plot armor is important. Sometimes making a story where the character doesn't die because the story needs them to live happens. There are tons of characters in the world who shouldn't have survived every situation that they were in, but the story requires them to do so. And a lot of those stories are still awesome. So like arguing over these little things, arguing over these moments, you can definitely say, each one of these guys has plot armor in their own way. Like, hey, Goku is a Saiyan from Earth who doesn't do any of the things that Saiyans do, but for some reason, he's the one who unlocks the ability to go Super Saiyan before any of these other Saiyans who have lived in strife and struggle their entire lives. The point is, sometimes plot armor is good, sometimes plot armor is bad, sometimes it just depends on what's going on in the story and what needs to happen. If the plot armor makes the story go the way it needs to go, it's not always a bad thing. And if you're judging everything based off of just whether or not someone has a certain amount of plot armor or not, you're missing out on a bunch of good stories because of something super arbitrary.
Yeah.
The end. Rant over. God, Luffy has so much plot armor, it is ridiculous. The stories that I'm telling you are just the ones I can remember off the top of my head, but One Piece is 1,200 episodes, and Luffy's plot armor is silly from the very beginning to the very end. You
did all that from the top of your head?
Yeah, that's all from the top of my head.
Wow.
He's literally fated to change the world, and like because of that, of course the story leans in this weird way where like all these good things randomly happen to him and he always seems to manage to come out on top. And it's like, I know that you guys want everyone to like be Goku and be awesome and do all the hard work to get what you want, but not everyone's story is going to go that way.
Yeah. Just wait till they discover Superman. I can I
I
can do a
actually
whole one on how much I love Superman.
I actually have one more little thing that I want to talk about. And if
Yeah,
you want
so
to do yours first and then come back to me, that's fine, or I'll do it now.
no, go for it.
Okay. Our MCU talk from last time is kind of ironically hilarious because the thing that I kept saying over and over again was I really you people are really talking crap about the MCU like they want it to go away and like I don't want it to go away and cuz I know what's going to replace it and it's going to be buddy cop comedies again and I don't want those to come back.
You don't want
And
buddy cop movies to come back? Why
I
not?
don't. I don't
They're
because
so good.
I I I don't. I can't imagine what Rush Hour 5 looks like or the new version of it. So let me get this out. So in the spirit of that, I watched Bad Boys 3 and Bad Boys 4 over the course of the last like week.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Are they bad? I imagine they're bad.
Okay. Here's the thing. As I'm watching the Bad Boys franchise, I can't in good conscience complain about cliches. I brought this on myself. I chose. So complaining about cliches in those movies seems extremely jaded to me.
Yeah.
But the amount of cliches that are in those movies, it's do do, do you care about spoilers for Bad Boys 3 and 4?
No, I'm not going to watch it. I've seen the other two and I'm good.
Okay. I'm going to just rail off some cliches real quick. And so they are running from a gang in the middle of the street. The gang member decides that the best course of action to slow them down is to blow up a car. He turns his gun. He shoots the car, not moving, not on, not probably on a tow truck, which doesn't even say if there's gas in it. One bullet shoots the car. It explodes off of this tow truck, flips into the air, and then lands in front of the as an obstacle that they easily weave out of the way of.
Interesting.
Mike Lowry, the Will Smith character, if you just don't remember,
Oh,
has a secret son that he
what?
didn't know about. The captain, the angry captain, now is like their best friend. They're like homies with. They like go to their kids' soccer games and stuff. And like this is not alluded to in Bad Boys 2 at all.
He kind of keeps his life kind of secret.
It's super weird. And
I think he was kind of like a ladies' man, right? Like the ultimate bachelor in two.
yeah, Mike Lowry is supposed to be like the ultimate bachelor. He still is. He's like 50 years old in the third one and he's like 55 in the fourth one and he's still like the ultimate ladies man. Like there's a scene in the fourth movie, it opens with Mike Lowry getting married and everyone is like, I can't believe Mike Lowry is getting married. I thought you were going to live the bachelor life forever. You're such a blah. I'm like, bro, the dude is 55 and you guys are still talking about oh, Mike Lowry. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Mike Lowry's gonna be the new Dickie Simpkins.
so 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 then let's go into like the real meat and potatoes. In the third movie, it kind of opens with Mike Lowry gets shot. Like his secret son, pulls up on him on a motorcycle and just straight shoots him. Like just puts bullets in his chest. Like
Oh, he's
and
a
like
bad guy.
yeah, and like he goes down and like they go through like he's in the hospital and he has to go through like physical therapy, and like he rolls up in a wheelchair, and it's like a big deal when he gets up out of the wheelchair. It's like then like undisclosed amount of time, but relatively soon after that point, he is Mike Lowry again, running full speed down the street, chasing down bad. I'm like, he was in the wheelchair in 2 scenes ago. How is he doing this? Doesn't make sense.
It's all that slap energy.
Oh God! And then, so like, the movie is, of course, his mom, who was the woman who kept the secret from Mike, is this evil drug queenpin lady that Mike seduced when he was undercover. Like, it's all of the things. And then at the end, they have the moment where like Mike Lowry has to choose to not fight his son. So like he's like, I'm not gonna fight you, and then his son is like a karate master, and he's flipping all over the place, beating him up. It's like every cliche you could think of.
Who plays the son?
He's like some like Latino dude. It wasn't like a named actor I had ever heard of, and then like, so like after this movie ends, his son lives and goes to jail. Then 4 happens, and instead of Mike getting shot, Marcus, who's Martin Lawrence's character, has a heart attack.
Yeah. Oh God.
Then the exact same thing happens. It's this huge deal. He's in the hospital, and then he gets out of the hospital and like is perfectly fine again, and everything and the whole story just continues like none of it ever happened, and they do the exact same shit after he just had a freaking Widowmaker heart attack.
Jeez.
Like, then they go get his son out of jail, and they, go on the lam, and they're undercover. It's like, it's so many cliches back to back. I was like, did they write this movie in 1994 and just took them this long to get it made? Like, why is everything a cliche?
Yeah. Those movies were famously like they were in production for a long time and just could never get them off the ground for whatever reason. It's kind of like Ghostbusters. Like that third Ghostbusters movie was supposed to be out like years before, like in the early 90s and stuff. But
like the thing about it is like they also do the thing where like, just continuing on the cliche thing, when they go after the person who shot Mike, there's a new team, and the new team uses technology, and like, oh, you're using all these fancy technology, we should be on the street. And like, even though these new guys with their new technology, they don't notice the subtle things that the seasoned. I'm like, oh my God, dude. It's like, oh, that bag that guy's holding in this camera video feed that you're getting from a drone is, the bag doesn't have anything in it. This is a setup. And like, it's like, God, like, like I have, I would say, above average ability to just turn my brain off and just watch things just for the entertainment, just for the explosions and the craziness and the quips and all that stuff. I have an amazing ability to do that. I can just turn my brain off and just enjoy it. But these cliches come so rapid fire in this movie. They're just so frequent and blatant that it took me out of it. Like, I was like, now, is the sexy Latina mom gonna be the seductive one or the witchy one? And she's the witchy one. Like, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, and then they could pull a Fast and the Furious where they end up all having to team up in the next one because they have a bigger, badder foe. It's his nephew.
But they did. That's what happens in the 4th one. They're like, oh, you were a bad guy before, son, but we need your intel, so we're gonna team up. I'm like, God.
Yeah, that's Fast and the Furious.
I just I came into this situation being like, I don't want these buddy cop movies to start back up again because they're nothing but nonstop cliches. And then I was like, I love Bad Boys. I don't care what happens. I'm always gonna love Will Smith. I'm always gonna love Martin Lawrence. So I'm willing to get down. And one thing I forgot to mention, which I'm gonna give Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys 3, and 4 the most credit for, the level of retaining the original actors from Bad Boys 1 and 2 that they did for Bad Boys 3 and 4 is legendary. Like
Yeah.
Marcus's wife is the same person. Marcus's daughter is the same person. The boyfriend that comes over in Bad Boys 2 to date
Oh yeah.
he's the same dude. They got the same guy back in Bad Boys 3 and 4. Like
That's awesome.
like the fact that they were able to get all these actors to come back and do their roles, like I don't think I've ever seen that kid in anything else. I think he literally is in Bad Boys 2, 3, and 4, and that's it. And they
That's a great scene too.
yeah, and like to take it a little farther in a crazy way that like endeared me to the whole movie. Why I'm talking about it and not just phased it out of my brain. In the second movie, where he shows up the first time, he's taking his daughter out on a date. When they ask him about his life, about what he wants to do, he says he's going to join the military. In the third one, he has joined the military and he is a Marine. In the fourth one, he has finished his tour in, I think he might have said Afghanistan, he might have said, I don't remember specifically where, but he's back home. And then they like, in one of the moments, they like call him up and they're like, there are guys coming to the house. You got to take care of them. You got to take care of them. And he goes full Marine and just like by himself in the building, takes down like 25 dudes, like by himself. No, like absolutely like military focused. Like he's moving completely methodically. It was a crazy scene. And to be like, to go from the kid that they were messing with in Bad Boys 2 to in Bad Boys 4, they gave him an action scene where he kicks all kinds of ass. I was like, well done, guys.
It sounds to me like you really want these buddy cop movies to come back.
No, I hate them. I hate them.
To this level of continuity and stuff.
I hate them. I hate them. I hate them a lot. I hate them. It was bad. It was a bad time. And it had so much more potential that they could have used to, you know, ingratiate new characters into the story and continue their little franchise they're apparently obsessed with keeping going. They could have allowed, you know, some other detectives or other characters to take point while Mike Lowry is recovering from gunshots and Marcus is recovering from a Widowmaker heart attack, but they just don't. They're just like, screw all these other characters. Whatever. We'll just pretend like none of this ever happened, and there's no issue with someone who's 2 weeks off of a Widowmaker heart attack just running into gunfights. That's perfectly fine. I just, please, everyone out there, everyone, I'm gonna get real close to the mic. Please, everyone out there who's listening to this, whoever hears this, let buddy cop movies die.
Nope.
Let them die.
They're working on Rush Hour right now.
Please don't.
With Tiffany Haddish and Aquafina.
I hate you so much. Please don't do that. Please. I might edit that. I might put a beep over that because I don't want someone to hear that and then start making that movie. Please don't. Please don't. Guess what, guys? You could have an action movie with guns and cars and explosions, and it doesn't have to involve a single police officer. It doesn't have to involve any police officers. None.
Yeah, but they're not be friends.
Yeah, they don't have to. They don't have to be from two different lands. They could be from the same land. Yeah, they could be friends. They could be enemies. They could be lovers. Be buddies. They don't need to be buddies. They don't need to be coworkers. They could be two random people who meet on a bus. Like, please, no more buddy cop movies. Yeah. Guys,
it's bus buddies.
Look.
You just wrote it. There it is.
Look. there's a reason that the best buddy cop movie in, I don't know, I would say 10 years, maybe
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
maybe 15 years is 21 Jump Street.
That's a great movie.
Why is that? Why is that the best buddy cop movie in 15 years?
My name is Jeff.
Because it's barely a buddy cop movie. The cop part is just a pretense to put Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum in a room. That's all it is. No one cares. Nothing cop related happens in that movie. It's just them being crazy jackasses, and it doesn't end in a cop way. There's no like, they don't, it ends with them literally making fun of buddy cop movies. Like, please stop doing it. Stop. We need fresh ideas, and we need fresh outlooks. And Bad Boys 2, one of the best action movies that's ever been made. Bad Boys 3, not even close. Bad Boys 4, put that shit in the ground. Please stop. Please don't start up. I'm not saying stop, because we kind of already stopped, but just don't start back up. Please.
I have theories on why Bad Boys 3 and 4 exist. I mean, they're not really theories, I guess, but like when you have a public snafu, and I'm going to call it a snafu, like slapping Chris Rock in front of millions of people at the Oscars, you need to like that break glass moment. And he's like, you know what? We get everybody hot again. Bad Boys 3.
Yeah, I don't.
Apparently, that wasn't it.
I don't disagree with you, and I honestly think that it did the job. I don't think his slap scene is ever going to go away. I don't think he's ever going to get away from it. But I think everyone in Hollywood and everyone out here in the audience has just been waiting for him to like, something to him to dust it off. Him to just be like, all right, I've done my penance, so now I'm back to making movies. And I think Bad Boys 3 is exactly that. I think it was just him being like, okay, I'm done, sitting around in this. Let's make movies again. And like, look, man, I'm not here to toot anyone's horn and talk about who's great and who's not, but like, Will Smith probably is the greatest action star of all time. Like Bad Boys 2, Men in Black, like that's a run that I don't think anyone is going to top anytime soon. But like
Independence Day.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Got a lot of good ones.
I didn't say Independence Day. I feel bad for that. But like that's a run I don't think anyone's going to top anytime soon. Like he put out and like all of those, he had co-stars, but all of those are basically Will Smith movies. Like,
yeah, they were vehicles for him.
Yeah, like he crushed it, and I'm sure he just wants to go find a way back to that point, and that's what he's doing and what he's been doing. But like, bro, it's not gonna happen. You need to change your mode. You turn down the Matrix is the dumbest thing you ever did in your life.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad he did.
I don't know. I don't know. Look, I don't know, because yes, but in all of his movies where he's asked to be not Will Smith, he can still do it. Pursuit of Happiness is crazy.
It is, and it might just be like The Matrix is one of my all-time favorite movies. Like I love The Matrix. I even like the sequels, because I just like they're just good movies. But
okay, here's what I'll say. I'm gonna jump in real quick because this is my segment. I'm gonna jump in if I want to. Anyways, I do think that it would be completely different movies with Will Smith at the helm. I don't think that those movies would have been bad, but
no, they would have been just completely different.
Keanu Reeves has, his portrayal of Neo is, it's, I mean,
legend.
movie gush man here, but it's legendary. It's like completely genre redefining. It's like, I don't know how to explain Neo and the Matrix, but like the Matrix was one of the most influential movies of all time. And I think it would have been influential in a different way helmed by Will Smith in comparison to Keanu Reeves, but I still. But anyways,
I think it would have been more popcorn movie instead of thought provoking.
but anyways, I think he wants to get back to being this
Definitely.
person, the person who makes these blockbuster action movies and has, ruled the screen and captivated everyone for so long. And I'm like, bro, I feel
You can't
you,
put the genie back in the bottle though.
but yeah, the genie is out of the bottle. There's so many things about your life that we know now that we didn't know when you were in Independence Day. I don't think you're ever going to make it back to that point. And I don't think movies are going to go back to that point.
No, they've changed forever. I mean, even look at some of the stuff in the MCU,
Yeah.
which is like a lot of that stuff is kind of crashing and burning right now. You know, the movie successes are definitely a lot different now than they used to be.
Yeah.
So look at Independence Day 2. The movie wasn't great anyway, but like had that movie come out like when Independence Day was new and relevant, that movie would have killed.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing to think about, comparing like if you were to drop some of the movies that, we consider legendary in like right now's market, I like there are a lot of those movies that I don't think would do, and then vice versa. There are some movies that like didn't do numbers now, but if they had came out in 1998, they would have like been like the hottest thing that ever dropped. Like we'd be talking about them, like Battleship. I don't know why my brain keeps going to Battleship, but
Uh,
sorry.
you sunk my battleship.
Did you ever watch Battleship?
No, I couldn't do it. I like bad movies, but like I couldn't do it. There was
I
aliens in that one, right?
Yeah, I honestly think that if you had taken that movie, took the relationship to the board game off of it, changed a couple of things, I think that movie would have killed. But
Yeah.
if you had, okay, the whole idea of, if you had taken the idea of playing Battleship in real life to a central point of a movie, but it wasn't brand tied to the actual game Battleship, I think it would killed. That's just me. That's just me, my opinion. But Will Smith, stand down.
Yeah.
Buddy
Big
cop
stand down.
movies, buddy cop movies, stand down. I don't want him back. I don't.
We don't need Rush Hour 5 with Tiffany Haddish and Aquafina.
I'm literally contemplating bleeping you out when you say that. I'm literally thinking about it because I don't want someone to hear this and then be like, you know what? That would be a fresh spin on that Rush Hour movies. And then
Yeah.
6 months from now, we are watching trailers for a freaking movie with Tiffany Haddish and Aquafina pretending to be Jackie Chan and Kristen.
Executive produced by Jackie Chan.
I hate that you even said that. Because now I can see it and I don't like it. But I kind of like it.
Do you?
In the worst way, yeah.
It's made for Netflix too.
Just like
Netflix bought the rights to it. So it kind of has that that Netflix look to it.
mm-hmm. just
What?
just Tiffany Haddish at a bar with a microphone singing, like, I don't know, just to make it different, like Janet Jackson instead of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And Aquafina's trying to get her attention, but she's like completely in the zone. And then like some like no, I'm writing it. I'm writing the movie right now. No, I have to stop. All right, new subject. What do you want to talk about?
I'm out of subjects, I think. I think Tiffany Haddish and Aquafina kind of did it for me. Let me go back to my notes here. Let's see what we got. Whoa.
Have we
Whoa.
taken this this conversation to its logical end and its logical
We might
end
have.
is
We might have.
is Rush Hour 5.
Let's see here. Did I talk about Metaphor Refantasio?
You mentioned it, but we kind of got off on the handheld subject, and we never kind of went back to it.
That's true. I've only played the demo so far, and it's pretty good. I like 2 hours in. I need to play a little bit more of it, but I don't. I don't think I like it as much as I like Persona.
Mm.
It's 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 really good. Like, but I think it deviates from Persona, but dude, it's still Persona. Like, you still get like the main characters. They call it something different, but the main character's persona is basically just Arsene. So I think that was Joker's, right?
Yep.
Joker's was Arsene. So I'm gonna give it a little bit more time, but
I downloaded the demo, and like, this is how bad I've been about Satisfactory. I downloaded the demo, and I literally like played the first, like, I don't know, 45 minutes or so. I honestly, what I remember is I played the demo and I got through the first cutscenes, and I was like, I'm gonna play some Satisfactory.
apparently the demo is pretty meaty.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing there are people who put like full game type hours into it already.
Yeah, which in the progress carries over. So I guess that's one thing I really hope that a lot of game companies just keep up. The Visions
Progress.
of Mana did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a couple other ones that have done that too. So
Oh
yeah,
my god,
keep that up.
I'm so excited like to like get into Visions of Mana, since I just haven't really given it my full attention yet, and I'm like I'm fired up to like jump into it and like really sink my teeth into it.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, it's on my list. So I think that's going to be one of the next things I buy.
Okay. I feel like we're waffling, so it sounds like it's time for positives.
I think it's time for positives. So you want to go first?
Sure, I can go first. My positive is a I don't know. This is a weird way to frame a positive, but I had a little incident yesterday, and I'm happy about how it ended up. So I was driving, I took Andrea to work, and I was on my way home. Some person just like busted a random U-turn in the middle of the road and very nearly collided with me.
Oh, yikes.
But I saw him in the nick of time and swerved out of the way, hit a curb. Stopped the car. We got out. The guy was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I was like, "I don't think we collided, so I think we're good." He gave me his card and was like, "Well, if anything, just send me an email or text to this number." So after this near collision, I got back in the car, drove home. I noticed that my front end alignment is jacked, which I'm gonna have to go take it to the shop and get repaired, which I'm gonna do tomorrow. But got me thinking, and I'm like, I have not had like a car accident, like anything serious, in, I would say, like almost 10 years at this point.
That's awesome.
And I was like thinking about it, thinking to myself, like knocking on wood multiple times because I said something. So, but I was like, if this is what I got to trade, if this $100 to get my alignment fixed is what I got to trade for 10 years of not having any serious car accidents, I will take it. Thank you, universe. I appreciate this and I thought about that and I was like, just appreciate. Sometimes you got to just appreciate small things. Like
Yeah.
this is a thing. Like I didn't have to be going to get my alignment fixed. You know, everything could have gone perfectly today, but like, or yesterday, but it could have went a lot worse than it did. And I'm happy
Oh,
for just,
definitely.
yeah, I'm happy for just that being all that came of this moment. Like it could have been way different, but instead it just is, I'm going to take my car to Jiffy Lube. I was planning to go anyway to get my oil changed. So I'm going to ask them to do the alignment while I'm there. And that is what comes of this thing that could have been way worse. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, man. It's funny you say that. I actually had a curb the other day too. So the parking, my work parking lot, it's really it's kind of weird. It's set up in like there's a parking lot, but there's kind of like an alleyway as well. And there were people who were walking out that like outside the back employee entrance, and I don't think they were paying attention and walked like right up in front of me. And I kind of moved to the right a little bit more, and it's kind of a narrow area, anyways. But my back passenger side tire mounted this curb, so and then like now my brakes are a little messed up, so I got to get those taken care of Tuesday. So kind of crazy you bring that up because I'm going through something similar. So
Yeah, and it definitely could have been a lot worse.
yeah, my positive. Oh man, I think the last one I said it was spoopy season. I'm pretty excited about that. I don't really have much more to go off of, honestly. Like I'm pretty happy with the way my new job's going. I've been there a little over about 4 months now, maybe
Hmm.
a little bit less. Dude, I'm loving it. Like talk about like the self check-ins and stuff. Like definitely, if you're not happy doing something that you're doing, or if you feel like you could be doing more, definitely explore your options. I'm glad I made this move. I'm making more money, which is nice, but yeah, I mean that's always nice. But the hours are better. Like I get more hours, but like it's not as stressful.
Hmm.
I have the ability to work from home, which is really good. I actually worked from home for the first time ever the last Thursday and Friday, and yeah, it was really nice, man. So I'm enjoying my new job. I love it. It's definitely like an extension of what I've been doing. So like I don't really foresee me ever getting out of banking. I'll probably retire if as a banker, but yeah, just kind of piggyback off of Aaron's from earlier, man. Just self check-ins, just make sure you're doing what's right for you, and hard work pays off. Bad times don't last. And I about started quoting Scott Hall there. Holy crap, man, that was a great Hall of Fame speech too. So, uh, he has since passed away, but he closed his. Let me see here. Speech. I'm gonna pull it up. Let's see here. Yeah, he says hard work pays off, dreams come true, bad times don't last, but bad guys do. I did that fucking unknowingly. Jeez. But no, words to live by though, man. Bad times don't last. And just put your work in and believe in yourself and dreams can come true.
Yeah, for sure.
I say that as I'm supersonic in I'm at the very end of Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic
That,
3 and Knuckles.
that's
And
the
I'm getting that
perfect
part where
time.
I'm flying in space. And I'm collecting rings right now. I'm getting ready to put the boots of Dr. Eggman. So this will be my 41st game I've beaten this year. So on my way to 50.
Nice.
We're waffling.
Yep, it's time.
Dude, 2 podcasts is it's pretty good for us, but I think we both got kind of tired at the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It. I feel like both of us. I feel like we were so like raring to go on the first one. We spilled so much that we didn't have a lot for the second one. No offense to people listening to this one, but
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've been kind of like we both kind of got busy and all that. So apologies to everybody if I don't think this one sucked or anything like that, but like if it's not as entertaining as the last one, but we like Aaron said, man, we were really ready to go. So, but yeah, we'll get up on a regular schedule again. So
yeah, absolutely. It's just been this past month has just been hard to nail down anything. I've got crazy stuff going on. You've had crazy stuff going on, but
yep,
we'll get it back into the normal stride.
indeed. So all right, you want to call it?
Yep. Wibbity wham wham wazzle. I
All right,
love you
everybody.
guys. See you next time.
Yeah, Tom Largebard sent you, and if you're out and about for Halloween, I see a Dickie Simpkins in my neighborhood. You're getting king size candy bars.
Same.
Yep.
All right. Peace.
Bye.